Morning guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm actually going to talk all about intuition, how to connect to your intuition. I think it's a big subject and I think it's something that a lot of us want to be able to do, and maybe we do it, we just don't realize that we have the capability or how to connect to it, or if it's our intuition or if it's our ego talking to us. Today I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you can tune into your intuition. And they're pretty easy, they're not anything complicated. You can do it from your couch, your bedroom, some even like in your car. It depends what you're looking for, and there's some that I've channeled through the Akashic Records, so hopefully that will help you guys. And I feel like I've channeled it for everybody that kind of watches the channel or follows my blog. All this information's on the blog as well. I'm just gonna quickly go and walk my dog and I'll come right back and we'll get right into the video. Sandy, you wanna go to the beach? You wanna go to the beach? Yeah? Wanna go to the beach? Let's go. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Good girl. You ready? You ready? Yeah? Let's go. All right, guys, let's talk about intuition. So intuition was always a word that I heard and I could kind of comprehend, but I just didn't understand how that related to what I was feeling or thinking, because I couldn't separate my thoughts from my feelings. I had a lot of trouble with that before. But now as I've kind of grown, I've understood myself a little bit more, and I'm reading the Akashic Records, and I've kind of had to tap into it in some way, and I've connected with it. It's become a lot easier. So I wanted to give you guys a few kind of tools or tips that you can use to connect to your intuition. So I think the first thing is, like, what is intuition? Because I think a lot of us might not understand what it is completely. I always say intuition is that feeling like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I felt I shouldn't have done that. Or I had a feeling that that was gonna happen. That's a big one. I think those are good indicators. I felt that, I knew that was gonna happen, or like kind of predicting something in a way. That's kind of our indicator that our intuition was speaking to us. A lot of people refer to intuition as their gut feeling. My gut's telling me not to do this, or my gut's telling me I need to follow this dream. As long as we're not putting our ego mind into it, then we are following our gut, we're following our intuition, and we need to tap into that more because we're gonna get the answers we need through there. And we need to realize that the ego is not there to make our life impossible. We just need to decipher when to use our ego, and when we want to make a decision for a higher good, a soul calling, we need to use our intuition, because our ego is not going to lead us down that path. Our ego is going to keep us in the comfort zone. Our ego is going to keep us feeling safe. Our ego is going to keep us in the same spot we're at right now, probably. So intuition is super important for us to progress and to follow our soul calling and to know that we're on the right path, because if we can follow that gut feeling, then we know we're safe, we're okay. So the first tip I have is to meditate. And I know that might sound very cliche, it might sound like something someone's already told you, but it's important. Meditation will really calm your ego, it will calm your mind, it will allow messages to come through to you. I've received so many messages through meditation, just messages from my guides, my masters, saying you're on the right path, or follow your heart with this, or do that. And a lot of times if we're so bogged down with life and so busy and running here, running there, it's impossible for us to connect to our intuition. How can we, right? Even if it's 5 minutes for you to just disconnect every day and to turn off your TV, turn off your phone, and just be with yourself. And to even during the meditation, you can put on some music, you can leave the music off, whatever feels better for you. So when you're meditating, it's not like you have to think about anything. It's just literally concentrating on your breathing or concentrating on the music. I've found I can even ask questions, like for example, I have to make a decision or something doesn't feel right and I'm not sure about it, but I can ask. And you can ask in kind of in your mind while you're meditating and say, I'm not sure about this or that. What's wrong? What's happening? Give me a sign, give me a message. Or just quiet the mind and see how you feel when you think about the topic. and see what comes through. And a lot of times things will come through. Sometimes it'll take a little bit of time depending on how connected you are or not. For some of you it will be easy, for some of you it might be a little bit harder, but the thing is here that you're connecting to yourself, you're connecting to your intuition, and you're getting closer to connecting to your intuition and the answers that you need. Tip number 2 is the Akashic Records. So obviously I was gonna bring this one up, but the Akashic Records, and I don't mean getting an Akashic Records reading from someone else, I mean you yourself learning to read the Akashic Records. Any of us can learn to read the Akashic Records for ourselves, and it's such a great tool to have, especially if you want to connect to yourself, understand where you're at, understand what's going on in your life, and to really connect with yourself. It's such a great tool to understand yourself and to get better perspective on your life, and to not have to depend on someone else all the time to get a reading. Not to say that you shouldn't get a reading from someone else. I do readings for people, and it's very different than opening your own. I even get my own readings from other Akashic Record readers because it's different. It's very different. But I think for an everyday tool, reading your own Akashic Records can be so beneficial, especially with intuition. So for example, I find that if I open my own Akashic Records and I journal, I can get so many answers. I use the Akashic Records now to write blog posts, for example. So this whole intuitive video and blog post, I channel that through the Akashic Records. I asked, what do I need to let people know about intuition? And that all came through with opening my own Akashic Records. That took time, that took years, really. We all have the power to connect to our masters and guides and our intuition through the Akashic Records. So that's just a tip that I have, and the masters and guides wanted me to share that with you, but that doesn't mean everyone has to do it. It really needs to call out to you to want to learn the Akashic Records. Not everybody will. It's something that you really need to feel called to, and if you don't, then it's probably not right for you and it won't be the right tool at that time. Not to say that in a few years you might get that calling, say I want to learn to read my own Akashic Records. I want to have that tool in my toolbox to be able to journal things out, or write things out, or ask myself questions and understand where I'm going, understand where I'm at, and understand why things happen in my life. You can always get a reading from someone else and you still will get answers, and intuition will come through there. So that's also an option. I didn't put that there in my list really because I'm trying to give you tools for yourself, that you don't have to rely on anybody else to tap into your intuition, where you can just sit by yourself and get the answers. So that's also an option. I do think the Akashic Records are great, and if any of these tools I'd recommend more is probably the Akashic Records. Tip number 3 is Oracle cards and Tarot cards. So I started getting into Oracle and Tarot cards probably, I want to say, probably like 6 months ago or a little bit more. And I've been actually incorporating them into my Akashic Record readings because I feel like it helps me tap in to the guides and masters before I actually physically open the other person's Akashic Records. But I use them for myself too. So for example, if I'm feeling a little bit off about a decision or something, or I don't know, maybe even with manifesting, it's okay, does this feel right to me? And I can't tell if it feels right or wrong, or is it coming from my ego or not? So what I'll do is just grab the cards in my hand. I really love these cards. I've really connected well with these. They're the Rebecca Campbell Work Your Light Oracle cards. Highly recommend them. So what I'll do is just grab the cards in my hand. I'll just grab them in my hand like this and just shuffle them and just ask a question. It could be out loud, it can be in your mind. Usually I'll just ask it in my mind and just repeat it as long as I feel like I need to, and just kind of do that. And after I've shuffled and I feel like the question's been asked enough in my head or out loud, I'll grab the deck and I'll hold it against my heart and I'll close my eyes and just breathe for a few seconds and just ask the question a few more times. She has a little booklet in there where she explains how to connect to the deck, and you have to do like a whole ritual around it, which is amazing. I definitely recommend it. So once you hold it to your heart and you close your eyes and you ask the question a few more times and you feel ready, you pull it away and you spread out the cards. You can spread it out on a table if you like. I just kind of spread them out, fan them out a little bit, and then then close my eyes and just put my hands kind of above the cards, and then I open my eyes and then I just feel called to a card, and then I'll pick one. And I got the Awakening card, which I love because it says energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. And this is exactly what this channel is about awakening, about connecting to ourselves and our intuition. And that's part of awakening, I think. So yeah, oracle cards are great. You can use those to ask your own questions when you're having trouble maybe making a decision or trying to understand a situation. You can use tarot cards as well. I used tarot cards the other day actually when I was having difficulty with something I was feeling, and they were right on point. But the thing is, you need to make sure you connect to the deck and that you're asking the question not from a place of ego, from a place of being completely open and wanting to hear what needs to come through, and trusting what comes through as well. It's important that you trust. Tip number 4 is connecting to your masters, guides, and beings of light. So that could also be a little bit connected to the Akashic Records, but I don't necessarily think you need to connect to your Akashic Records in order to connect with your masters and guides and beings of light. What we do need is to quiet our mind and to ask. If you do not ask, you will not receive. And that is the same thing with the Akashic Records. The questions are the most important part of any reading. Keep that in mind, I think, with anything in life. Any questions you have that you want your masters or guides or just guidance on, ask. You will receive. You need to ask in a context of not being in your ego and not being in a place of stress or at work. You need to be in a quiet space. You need to be, it could be right before you go to sleep. It could be when you meditate. It could be when you do yoga. So we need to be in a place of complete stillness in order for us to hear the messages. If we're running around, running errands, going shopping, we're not going to hear those messages. We're not connecting to our soul. We need to connect in order to hear the messages and ask. Ask whatever you need to hear. They can give you signs and you can get messages through them. For example, let's say that you need to make a decision on moving to another state, another country, whatever that is, and you deep down feel like it's right, but you're not sure because it might mean uprooting your whole life, getting a new job, and then maybe moving your kids. So keeping that in mind, all that fear might be holding you back from saying, this is actually what I want, but I'm not sure. So you can connect, maybe meditate for a few seconds, breathe, and ask yourself, what is the decision that will align most with my soul path? What is most aligned with my soul guided path? And ask that. Ask your guides, ask your masters, directly ask them, connect with them, and ask them what you need. And they can give you signs. Ask for signs. I think that's a big one. And a lot of us do receive signs from angels, from guides, through numbers. That's a big one, and I've seen a few people get those pretty heavily. But you can also have a specific thing that you connect with. Like, for example, for me, sometimes it's a paper clip. I will see them in the most randomest places. Or some people have like an owl or an animal or a specific thing that they consider a sign, and they will use that as their sign to say, okay, that's right, or that's wrong, or all right, that doesn't feel right, and they're just confirming it for you. But we need to trust those messages that are coming through, because we will ignore them if we're not connected to ourselves and we're not trusting that they're giving us those answers. So trust is so big here, and that goes for every one of the 5 tips that I have on this video. Trust that what you're getting and what you're feeling is correct, and that it will guide you to follow your soul path and to do what is best for you or what feels right for you, but the fear is holding you back from making that decision or moving forward. Tip number 5 is breath work and mindfulness. So this could be considered a little bit similar to meditation, but I have a whole technique that I've channeled through the Akashic Records for the blog and now for the video that I felt I needed to share. And I'm going to put in some clips here of the breath work, because it's a whole step that you need to follow in order to connect and to just kind of get the ego mind to go away. So the first thing is you need to sit comfortably on a chair, or it can be on the ground, kind of cross, like Buddha style legs, and just breathe. You don't need to concentrate on your thoughts, nothing like that. It's breath work. So you're going to do heavy belly breathing, and I'll put a video here now that I did just now to show you guys. And I always say it's good to put your hand above your belly so you can actually feel your stomach expanding and contracting, so you know that you're actually belly breathing. Otherwise, we all tend to breathe from up here and we're not getting the same benefits. We're not breathing and allowing energy to flow through our body. So that's one. After this, after about a minute or whatever feels right, and you will get a little lightheaded, because I did and I always do. Once we've done about a minute or so of that belly breathing and we've emptied our mind and we're still and maybe a little lightheaded, then we're going to breathe normally. Just breathe normally and kind of get back into balance. So after you've regained your normal breathing, you feel calm, that's when you ask a question. And you can ask it in your mind or you can ask it out loud, whatever feels right. If you have people around you close by that you don't want to hear the question, you can put that in your mind and just repeat it a few times and see how the question just flows through you. And this is where we start paying attention to our body. When we ask the question, does our body tense up? Does our body kind of relax? Does it feel light? Does it feel restricted? We need to pay attention to the bodily reaction to that question. And I don't believe it necessarily should be a yes or no question. It could just be like, is it aligned for me to do this? If you tense up, that will probably mean that it doesn't feel right to you. Intuitively, it doesn't feel right. If you ask the question and you feel light and like you can breathe and that you feel airy and euphoric in a way, I guess, that's when you know that might be the most aligned thing for you. And this is just one tool. Once you use this tool, you can use all the other tools with the same question if you want. That's up to you. Maybe one resonates more with you and you just do this one, or maybe the meditation feels better for you because that's just easier than breathing. You need to resonate with what you're doing. If it doesn't feel right, then I would suggest to do something else. But in this case, your body will tell you what's right or what's wrong. And it's really funny how we're so out of tune with our bodies nowadays. We're all so stressed out, moving so quickly, kind of in a sympathetic state that it's hard for us to connect with our body and to understand what's going on. And if we just stop for 5 minutes and listen to it and see the reactions, like the physical reactions our body's having, we'll get the answers straight away. So this could be a good one if you're a very physical person and you feel things like maybe empathetic. That could be a good one for you. So those are my 5 tips to connecting to your intuition. I hope these help you. Try them all, see what resonates with you the most, and let those answers come through. Trust what comes through. That's the most important thing here. And it's a muscle. You need to keep working on that trust and trusting the messages that come to you. But use what most resonates with you. It might be one, it might be 2, it might be all of them. It might be different ones at different times or different ones for different questions, but use what feels right for you. And let me know how it goes. Comment below what resonates with you the most. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload every Wednesday. And please like this video if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys!